doing? How are things over in Japan so far? First off, can you just talk about the being part of this whole experience, being with the national team? What can you take away from this experience as you get ready to come back to take the coaching Villanova?
Hey, David. Everything's good here. Great, great setup. Players have been amazing to work with. Everything's first class here in the Olympics. And you know, I've learned a lot on this coaching staff with Pop and Steve Kerr, Lloyd Pierce, and Jeff Van Gundy, and Pop's assistants. Ime Adoka is here. Just a lot of great basketball, and working with these players, seeing their work ethic and able to share that with our players, how hard these guys work and how professional they are about their craft.
Anything in particular you can take away as you get ready to come back and coach Villanova?
No secrets I would share with you, David, but a lot of good stuff to bring home. We learn from the other teams too. Watching these other international teams play, I've learned a lot, stolen a lot of great offense.
Thanks again, Jay.
Got it.
Next up, we'll go to Tyler Boronsky, and then we'll go to Mike Finger.
Hey, Coach, actually wanted to ask you about Ime. As you've had a chance to work with him, this last month closely with him, what impresses you most about him? As obviously he's getting ready for his first head coaching position with the Celtics coming up next year.
Ime is a big part of this, Tyler. 2 years ago when we did the World Cup, Ime was just transitioning from leaving Pop staff to go to Philadelphia. And he was really the guy that took me under his wing and taught me all of Pop's terminology. And he was someone that Pop really relies on, knowing his system. And now, 2 years later, being together again, you can see how much he's grown. And he's as intelligent a basketball mind as I've been around. And he's got a great demeanor. He's got a great way with the players, great way with our staff. He's going to be a very successful head coach.
Thank you. Next up, we'll go to Mike Finger.
Hey, Jay. For Pop, he shared with us before that this is something that he's wanted ever since, I think, Bob Knight told him he was cut from the 1972 team. I mean, he's wanted to be part of this experience. And I'm just wondering, as part of his staff, have you been able to tell, losing to France, losing a couple exhibition games, did he take that particularly hard? And how much responsibility and even pressure do you think he's feeling to kind of finish this off strong?
He's made it really clear to our staff back from 19, how much, what an honor this is to him. He's made it really clear, and it's been very obvious to us through his preparation. When we meet the first time before we even start, he's got everything planned, everything analyzed. He's got situations for us to go through as a staff that he's thought ahead. To answer your question about being, I think, yes, disappointed. Yeah, he was very disappointed after France, but not discouraged. I mean, this has been a really unique, challenge with putting this team together, the NBA season going long, COVID issues, injuries, and he's been an incredibly positive to all of us and passionate and confident that, we're going to get this done, and that it's, that it's not going to be pretty and we're going to have to go through all this, but we're going to keep getting better every day. And I think that's how he feels. And he's got the team and the staff feeling like inspired that we're getting better every day.
I know you probably don't want to speak for him personally, but just as a staff, when you lose a game like that, do you look inward and do you kind of rethink what we're doing here, or do you kind of trust that in the process, so to speak, that you're on the right track already?
Kind of both, Mike. You always, the first thing as a coach, and I know Pop does this, the first thing as a coach, as you look at yourself, and what do we have to do? Where do we have to adjust? And but then there is another side of it. Your experience tells you, hey, we got 3 guys that just showed up, and other guys that just joined the team. So there's a lot of good things we did in that game that we can build on.
Thank you very much.
You got it.
Josh Coyne, you're up, and then we'll go to Landon Buford.
Hi, Jay. From the exhibition games up until the France loss, there was obviously a lot of exterior pressure that built up. We were definitely hearing a lot of it, even if you guys weren't. Tell us about the differences around the camp since the Iran win, and did the coaching staff enjoy a big bottle of wine once that pressure was relieved?
Actually, Josh, there's a natural pressure when you're the coach of the USA team, and I know Pop knows that and embraces it, and we all do. So when we're going through the beginning of it in the exhibition games, that kind of like I answered the previous question, you're always analyzing what do we do better. You lose a game, and but it is a process that we feel like we're building, we're getting better, we're getting guys into practice, and we got the whole team here together. So it's not like one big celebration after one game. It's just kind of, this is our process, and this is the journey we're on, and we've got to just keep being positive and getting better each day. And with Pop, win or lose, we got a chance to have a good meal.
Thank you.
Next up is Landon Buford. And again, if you have a question, raise your hand. Thank you.
Hey, Jay, I cover the Mavericks on a regular. Jalen Brunson is going into his 4th season. Obviously, you coached him. I wanted to know what your thoughts about him going into year 4, and then how Jason Kidd can get the best out of him going into next season.
Well, I'm a big Rick Carlisle fan, as is Jalen. I know he loved playing for him, and felt like he's gotten better each year as a pro under Rick. But both of us, and I know Jason. I know Jalen. Looking at the opportunity to play under such a great point guard, obviously Jalen playing that position. Veteran player, great basketball mind. I know he's really looking forward to it. So I think it's going to be a great learning process and a great building block in Jalen's career to have played for Rick, being introduced to the NBA that way, and now have a chance to learn from one of the great point guards of all time.
Thank you. Next up is Brian Colbert.
Hey, Coach, Brian Colbert here. You mentioned the mental pressures of being in the Olympic setting. With so much awareness being put on mental health and mental awareness as a coach, especially a coach of college players, how do you try to better help your athletes be more comfortable coming to you about mental health issues that they may be having?
Yeah, I think it started last year, in the COVID season. We were very clear to our guys that, their mental health was the number one challenge for the season, not winning a Big East championship, winning an NCAA championship, everything they went through in all the quarantines and not being around their families. So we talked about it daily, and it's the same thing here in the Olympics. We're very cognizant about, Pop's really cognizant about these guys being fresh and enjoying the journey and keeping a great perspective, even after a couple of losses, constantly talking to them about their mindset, about staying fresh mentally and physically. And it's something that we're all monitoring at all times.
Thank you. And next up is Giacomo Rossetti. Giacomo, you need the president.
Hi, Coach Wright. Nice to meet you. I'm Giacomo Rossetti from Messaggero, from Italy.
Nice
What do you think about the European national team at this Olympic tournament? Which is, in your opinion, the toughest one, and which one, in your opinion, could be the outsider? Thanks a lot.
Man, there's a lot of great European teams, and I got to say, we watched Italy last night. You know, as a staff, we're all really impressed with the Italian team and how disciplined they are and how well they execute. There's a lot of great teams. We're fans of the international basketball. All of us on the staff, we have great respect for these teams, and we love watching them play. You know, we learn from that. You know, we learn from them as much as we learn from ourselves. But there's a lot of great teams. You know, obviously, you know, Slovenia, the way they're playing now, France, obviously, Spain. There's so many. We know it, and all our players know it. We have great respect for them, and we know we've got a lot of hard work ahead of us to compete with. First, the Czech Republic, who's another really good team, and then, you know, whoever we get, if we're able to advance after that.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
You got it.
David Melander, go ahead.
Hey, Jay, one final one for me. What were your thoughts about watching the NBA Finals, seeing two of the guys you coached to go at it?
Yeah, it was really cool, David. I felt for Dante. You know, I was actually texting with him just to make sure he was okay, but it made me feel good afterwards seeing on social media him on top of the bus in the parade and down on the floor. I could tell he was really happy for his teammates. And obviously Mikhail, you know, had a great series, and I was really proud of him, happy for him. But in the end, I know how much he was hurting. So, you know, just texting him, make sure he was okay. He seems to be good. And I was really proud of both of them.
We'll go next to Mike Finger with the San Antonio Express News.
Jay, I just wanted to check in. In San Antonio, there's a staff member. I think one of the more pressure-packed positions is the guy who has to go out for the wine. I'm wondering if there's somebody on Team USA that has that responsibility, and has it been taken care of to the satisfaction of the staff so far?
I'll tell you what, it's not the same, you know, having been with Pop in the World Championships, we're locked in here. So I can tell you it's not the same for Pop. It's not a typical San Antonio Spurs dinner and wine. We have a lot of people. Sean Ford and the USA staff is working hard at it, and but it's not the same. I'm feeling for Pop, but he's handling it well.
Thank you.
You got it.
And our last question today will be from Tim Reynolds with the Associated Press.
Thanks, Greg. Hey, Jay. I feel for you guys on the no wine or the difficulty in wine. That's a problem. I understand. Jay, if you got, these are first world problems, yes. Jay, these guys are used to, if you lose game one, it's no big deal. You got 6 other games. In your world, if you lose game one, that's a really big deal. How much will that experience, your familiarity with that, how much will that help you guys if you do get into the knockout round? Thank you.
You know what, Tim, that's a big point of emphasis that Pop has used with our team. You know, there's so many mental concepts with the guys, you know, a shorter game, a 40-minute game, you know, not playing the same percentage of minutes that they do in a normal game where they can get themselves going, because it's a shorter game and they're playing less minutes than they normally do in a game. And, the one and done concept, right? And having more time between games. There's so many differences for the NBA guys, and Pop's been addressing it since day one. And I am starting to feel like the guys are getting a feel for that, you know, that this is a one and done situation, especially after losing the first game. You know the Iran game's important. You know the Czech Republic game's important. I do start. It's not natural for them, you know, and And athletes are really habitual people. It's what makes them so special, is that they just naturally do things. So there's a lot of things in this competition that are unnatural for them. And I think Pop's done a great job of emphasizing it, communicating it. I'm starting to get the feel that they're starting to get comfortable with it.